Hey everybody, it's me, Susan Holt. I am an artist, which makes me one of the luckiest people on the planet. Today is Wednesday, so I hope you brought your beverages with you and can sit back and relax and watch me create art. Tonight I am going to do another large-scale pour painting. Hi Linda, thanks for joining me. Linda is actually my neighbor, and if I open my window I can wave at her in real life, so thanks for suggesting I wave at her Facebook, but I'll do that probably this weekend. Hi Cindy, how are you? Thanks for joining me. So as I was saying, I'm going to be doing a large format pour painting. And I forgot to mix up my white paint because I have been super busy getting ready for my super exciting 3-day launch event. That's coming up on November 19th, 20th, and 21st. All of that information is posted a lot of places in the group, and it's going to be posted a lot more places in the group. So if you are interested in coming to those lives, which I highly recommend because I have some really fun stuff that I'm going to be doing. There's going to be a giveaway, there's going to be some Q&A, and there's going to be a lot more stuff. I have so much stuff planned. I am just super excited. All right. I was on a conference call just before this, so I'm still getting ready. That'll give people who are joining another chance to pop on over onto the group. So I'm going to get ready while they're showing up. All right. So instead of basing my painting tonight in white, since I didn't mix any up after I used it the last time, we'll do the base in a black and a gray. I think I'll go kitty corner on it, and that should look pretty groovy. All right. Now I need to figure out what colors I want to use. I'll go with what looks good with black and gray. Red probably looks really good with black and gray, doesn't it? I'll go with some reds. Now, I've already told you this before, but I already have my paints mixed up to mostly how I want them. So don't be surprised if you see these little craft bottles. I reuse these so that they don't go into the landfill. Red, greens. Some orange. Yeah. Okay. Let's put that one back. We'll use that one up. Yeah, okay. That looks pretty good. All right. So what I'm doing now is pouring my paint through a strainer. Some of these paints I have inherited and don't know exactly how old they are. So we're going to err on the side of caution. and use my strainer to catch some clumps that may be in the bottles. This is really not the most exciting, glamorous part. But it's a fun part and I enjoy it. Oh, and also when using your squeeze bottles, sometimes you get this stuff up around where your paint comes out, and that can fall in too. So it's another reason to use a strainer. If you're pouring directly from the bottle into your cup, if you're using a pour medium and mixing the color into the pour medium, then you can use the strainer between the pour medium and pouring the color in it. But I don't do things like normal people do them, so this is just how I do them. We're going to use some green because green is the complementary color to red, which means it is directly across the color wheel. So here's my color wheel. There's red, there's green. So what that does is it makes the other color it's next to brighter and more vibrant. And if you mix them together, they'll either mix kind of a browny gray or a bluish gray, depending on what you're mixing. So I have all my little empty paint bottles kind of nestled in that back corner. And I really need to take some time and get in here and remix all of my paint. But I haven't. I hope you've all been enjoying the posts recently on the group. Been learning a lot, posting a lot. We'll let you know that as the event ramps up, there will be more posts. So don't panic if you think there's a lot of posts in the next 2.5 weeks, because there will be. I just wanted to give you a little heads up. You don't have to read all of them, just the ones that I post. Since they're all the ones that I post, you know. I also have a little bit of a sick sense of humor, so there is that. I'm just waiting for the rest of the paint to settle through the strainer here. Tap it out. Then I'll clean off my strainer before I go over to the canvas. Because otherwise it will not be a strainer, it will be a bowl. And of course, my favorite part, showing you all the gunk in the bottom. Well, one of my favorite parts. I shouldn't say my favorite part. My favorite part is making the painting. Okay. I'm going to take a paint that I need. I'm going to take the phone, so if either of you or anybody who's watching gets a little motion sick, go ahead and look away now, because the phone's going to jiggle and move. And I will tell you when it is safe to look. Ooh, and I got a new haircut today. I think it looks super cute. Okay, you're going to be looking at my ceiling. Not so glamorous. It's not a good glamour shot. Give me just a moment, and I'll put you up on the stand. Okay. All right, you can open your eyes if you closed them. So tonight I'm going to be working on a 20 by 20 canvas. It is square. It's a good size. If this piece turns out to be the one you can't live without, but you want it to be a little bigger, it's super simple. You just go have it framed. And I always write the size on the back of the canvas before I start. A lot of canvases already have the size on it, but some don't. And the ones that don't, I just write it on real quick. It's a lot easier when I'm trying to put the piece up on my group and offer it for sale, or if I'm putting it up on my website, then I have the piece right there. I have everything I need right there. Let's see. I'm going to move the camera up just a hair. And over just a hair. Okay, I think that's good. All right. Hope your week's been going well. Been learning a lot in my class. Today I got to go get my hair cut done. I was looking really shaggy. I know that Cindy is a hairstylist. She actually, when she lived here in the state, used to cut my hair. And then she left. Now I have another friend who went to beauty school, cut my hair, and he does a great job. If you're out there watching, feel free to comment. I am looking at the comments tonight because I can see my phone when it's on a stand like this. So let me know if you have any comments, if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them tonight. Again, I'm just making sure that the corners and the edges are covered with paint. It makes it easier for the paint to move down the sides and move off the canvas. And then I do the pouring. And I don't mind having this little bit of black paint in the gray paint down here. That is perfectly fine. It is, after all, a pour painting. So if this was a Rembrandt and that happened, I think Rembrandt might be a little peeved. But he'd also know how to cover it up. I, too, know how to cover it up. Not that I paint anything like Rembrandt. And I always clean off my palette knife before I set it down so that there's not a bunch of paint and gunk stuck to it next time I go to use it. All right, heat gun's going on. And that pops a lot of the bubbles. That way I don't have bubbles dried in my paint. All right, here we go. I know you see the paint over here that has dripped off. It's not going to go to waste. I use that for making jewelry and magnets and other items. Heat gun again. I can already tell you that this painting did not do anything I thought it would do. Kind of the surprise of pour painting. Just got paint on my face, which is something I do pretty much daily. And it happens all the time. Okay. All right. I'm going to take my finger and run it along the bottom and pull off the paint on the bottom of the painting, on the back of the painting. That might otherwise cause it to not sit flat on a wall. If I left it there. Some people actually take a grinder and grind it off, but I don't know. It just seems excessive. This just seems like a less toxic, easier thing to do. Pull it off with a finger. As you can see, it doesn't really take a whole lot of time. And I'm being very careful to not take some paint off the bottom and then go over the painting, over the top of the painting with my hand. A lot of times there are paint drips that come off my finger, and I don't want those dripping on the top of my painting. Okay. Did you see when all the cells started to develop? It was after I had tipped the painting, and then while I was blowing out the feathery parts on the edges. This bright pink started coming up here. All this green started coming up. There's even some deep red over here. Okay. I'm gonna go rinse my cup and I'll be right back. Won't take me too long, and then we can do Q&A after this. I'm going to go put my paint back over on my table, and then I will be right back for the camera. Hang on tight. I apparently had a hole in one of those gloves, because now my fingernail is gonna need a cleaning. Okay, camera is gonna wiggle, so if you get motion sick, go ahead and close your eyes for me, and I'll let you know when you can open them. Cindy says she's loving the ratty animal in the pink section of the painting. I didn't even know there was one. I'll have to go back and look at that for sure. Okay, I'm gonna set up this other light real quick for the Q&A session. Well, that was exciting. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, I hope you've been thinking about a question to ask me. Hi, how are you? Oh yeah, you totally got paint on my face. It's a good thing I'm wash and wear. All right, let's see if I can see you with my glasses off for questions. All right, who's got a question for me? Anybody? While you are typing your questions, and while I am thinking of it, I will move my paint back. I'll also remind you that if you have signed up for an email from me, please check your spam folder. I sent one out on the 31st. So if you didn't get it, it might be in there. I also have my big container of paint that I can mix up my smaller container of white paint, well, my medium container of white paint, while you're thinking of questions. I know, it's so riveting, isn't it? Oh, and I was going to pick a name for the painting that I've been working on in October on the lives, with the blues and the greens and that bright, almost terracotta orange, orangey red. I think the consensus was mostly that it's cloud-like and river-like. If somebody can go look and see what those names were and post them in the comments for me, I would really appreciate that. Since I had a meeting right before this, I neglected to write them down. My day went meeting, do some stuff for my event that's coming up, do some stuff for the other events that are possibly coming up. Then what did I do? I ate lunch, and then I went and got a haircut. And then I came home and did a couple other things on the computer for class. Then I made dinner, then I had a meeting, then I switched off the meeting and came here. So it's been a really busy day. Where did I put the new bottle? I know I had a new bottle of stuff, and I don't know where I put it. This is what happens when you clean your studio. This stuff is pour medium. The little bottle, oh, there's that. The little bottle is Flow Aid. Pour medium helps, here's my new bottle. Pour medium helps make the cells happen and allows you to use less pigmented paint, so you can water down your paint with this and it will flow easier. Flow Aid helps because it does this not only for my acrylic paints, but also my watercolors and my gouache paints. Gouache paint is, it's like watercolor, but it's opaque instead of transparent, which means there's more pigment in it, and it's a thicker paint. So you don't see through it like you can watercolors. Watercolors are used in a very thin wash. And gouache is spelled G-O-U-A-C-H-E. So the Flow Aid, which is in the little bottle, takes the particles of paint and kind of breaks them up. It lubricates them like a little, like Dawn dish soap does to oil and grease. It breaks it up. So it breaks up the clumps of particles, so you end up with a smoother paint. Cindy asks, does the Flow stuff dilute the pigment? Actually, no. I don't know how it does it. I haven't looked that up yet, but it's really a lot like magic. You put whatever color you want in. I put this in my white bottle, my black paint bottle, and my gray paint bottle, and it extends the paint no matter what color it is. And I've been meaning to look it up, but I've been a little bit busy, so I don't know exactly how that works, but it does. So you get a little bit more, or a lot of bit more bang for your buck when you use the Flow medium. And I think you get even more bang for your buck when you put in some Flow Aid as well. There we go. Cindy asks, does it slow the dry time? Another great question. No, it does not. What slows the dry time with acrylic paint is how humid it is. So I live in the Metro Phoenix area of Arizona. We're in the desert Southwest. So a lot of times we do not have very humid days. We have very humid days in the summer, June, July, August-ish, when we have the monsoons come through, but those are days here and there. Sometimes we have a full week of humidity. It's just weird. But most of the year, it's very dry here. To the point where I actually put lotion on the bottoms of my feet as well. So dry time, dry to the touch is generally overnight, but then I have to wait until it is more set and more cured, which is another 2 or 3 days before I put the dots on top, or if I was doing another design on top of the pour painting, I would have to wait to do that, unless I want to go in and get my tools kind of stuck to the canvas, and then you sit them down and they go blink when they pop up. And sometimes that ends up with little spots, little tiny spots of paint flinging off of the canvas and off of the tool, of course, right into a place where I don't want them to be on the canvas. So I always like to let the piece dry and then cure, so that I have less of the little white dots that I have to go back through with some of the base color paint and put little dots over the top of them. And I do that for every painting so that it does not look really weird, because then you have a big dot with a teeny tiny little speck right next to it. It just drives me nuts. I don't want that. I don't want that on my painting. Now, I shouldn't say I've done it on every canvas. I do it on 98% of canvases. If the background is already speckled with little white dots, I will leave it, because it looks like it just goes with the rest of the painting. So that makes it easier for me. But otherwise, I take the time and I go through, and sometimes when the color paint underneath is a mix of 2 colors, I have to blend those colors to get the covering dot just right. It's a lot of work. Just to cover up one little tiny dot. Oh, it's paint. All right, does anybody else have any questions? I'll give you another minute to type one in. So since I forgot to write down the potential titles for the painting that you and I have been working on in the month of October, I will write them all down and figure out which one I like best, and then I'll post it in the comments here. Oh, hi, Diana. She writes, how do you get paint off of your shirt? With acrylic paint, you don't. With some watercolor and gouache paints, they will stain, but the paint itself will come out. But with acrylic, since it is kind of plasticky based, it does not come out at all. Most of my shirts have paint on them. I actually have paint. Oh, thanks, Cindy. She said, how do you get paint off your skin? Usually I go to the bathroom and I take a paper towel and just rub it off with a little bit of water. But I'm wash and wear, so, and I'm an artist, and this is nothing new. Usually it's in my hair, but like I said, I got my hair cut today, so it's too short for me to get it in my hair. But with, I'll actually answer the question as well for shirts. So most of my shirts have paint on them. I do have good shirts that don't have paint on them. Thank you, Cindy. Yes, that is my badge of honor. It's my war paint. for my camouflage in my studio. But you can actually take acrylic paint and buy some additive that makes the acrylic paint fabric paint. And we all know fabric paint does not come out of fabric. Acrylic paint will crack after a while, but if you put that additive in to make it into fabric paint, it makes the paint pliable and bendable, and it will wear longer without cracking. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it for the evening. This is starting to get a little annoying and itchy. I am not allergic to the paint, thankfully. But I do want to let you go. But before you go, I would like to say thank you so much for joining me. Oh, Diana asks, well, then I won't go. Diana asks, have you ever painted a t-shirt or other outfit? Yes, I have. Way back in the time machine, probably 15 to 20 years ago, I was in a medieval recreation group, and there are a lot of great dressmakers and seamstresses in that group who made outfits for me, for my friends, for their friends, for people who needed them for special occasions. And someone found an article or several articles about painted fabric in clothing being worn way back in, I think it's like the 12 to 1400s. So there was kind of a painting your clothes phase that everybody went through, or your garb, your medieval garb. So I painted one of my dresses that everybody was calling the butterfly dress, because I painted it with butterflies, and the leaves on there, the vines are just a single black line, and then the leaves on there are gold leaf. I learned how to apply gold leaf to fabric. I wear an underdress, wore an underdress with it so that I didn't have to wash the overdress as much, because I didn't want the gold to come off. I have washed it a couple of times and it is stuck hard and fast, which is great. So yes, I've painted clothing before on purpose. We also did a couple, I think between my friend Jennifer and I, we did 4 or 5 painted dresses for the group that we belong to, our set of friends. But I have some pictures of the butterfly dress that I can actually upload for a Throwback Thursday. Maybe I'll do that coming up here pretty soon. Hi, Patty. She says, I need my glasses. Do you paint in a color in the print of your steampunk outfit too? I also did steampunk for a while. We still kind of dabble in steampunk. It's really fun. I did not paint any of my steampunk outfits, but I have painted hats. Hold on, let me go get one because they're really cool. All right, thank you for your patience. This hat, was actually in an expo at the Scottsdale Museum of Modern Art. It's also been displayed at several Phoenix Comic-Cons, Wild Wild West Con, which is a steampunk-based convention, some of the smaller local conventions as well, just the regular sci-fi conventions with everybody there. And it was also displayed at Sky Harbor International Airport in Terminal 3 in the East Gallery. Our airport here is very big. It has hundreds of thousands of people coming through it, especially back in the pre-COVID times. And they are known for their support of local artists. So this one I created specifically for one of the shows. I think it was the Scottsdale Modern Art Museum one. And my husband and I are the originators of the vented hat. So as you can see on the top, I'll get to the good stuff in a minute, but on the top we have a large gasket, some mesh, and you can kind of see through it. There's my hand from the other side. I hand cut all the gaskets, I hand punch all the holes, I pound all the rivets, I cut the screen, and I paint all of this by hand. And I took my inspiration from this piece from watch gears. And I think they look like little birds, so I made them into little birds. This is the back of the hat, and I just put little gears. And those are painted, so that's completely flat. A little gear, actual gears down at the bottom there. This is the other side. And I do have all of the painted hats for sale. These make great conversation starters for any art collection. And then on the inside, I just run some fabric around the base so it picks up your sweat. And you can see all the insides, all my marks from drawing where I wanted the holes to go. Usually nobody sees those, and when people put their hats on a table, they'll put them upside down and then put their gloves and their goggles and everything else in there with them. So I'm not too concerned about finishing off the insides of the hats, because generally nobody sees them. But yes, I have several of these actually, in lots of different sizes and shades and colors and designs. This is one of my absolute favorite ones. Another one is the monarch butterfly hat. I painted it like the diamonds on a monarch butterfly's wings, and it looks super cool. I do not have those up on my website, but for a Throwback Thursday, I will post some of these as well. Thank you for the questions. Thanks, Diana. She says, they're so cool. I agree. I think they're very, very cool. I like them a lot. I also have some derbies and some top hats in black, gray, and brown felt that are vented, and they are not painted. So yeah, had a lot of different art lives in the last 20 or so years. Yeah. Oh, and Diana, I need to thank you, because I was going through some writings and stuff the other day that I had to do for class, and I realized that in between the time I left the abusive relationship in my early 20s to the time I met you, I really didn't do a whole lot of art in that 10-ish year period. Diana actually got me started doing illumination and calligraphy and painting, and that was kind of my first foray back into creating art. And that was over 20 years ago, because we were living at the house up in Glendale at the time. So Diana, this is all your fault. thank you very much for allowing me to get back into this so graciously and gracefully and patiently with me. And look how far we've come. So thank you for that. I appreciate you in my life. Yeah, it was like 1997. You are absolutely correct. So yeah, it was good. It was very good, and it re-sparked my love of art. So I am very grateful for that. So thank you. All right. I think I should probably go feed the dog. I heard her raise her head. That's about the time she starts stirring, is when she either has to go potty or she has to be fed. So I'm going to let you all go for the evening. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for the wonderful questions. And I will see you next Wednesday for Zen Stay Wednesday again. Don't forget to write down some questions for me between now and then, and we will do this all over again at that point. We'll have a little painting session, and then we'll have a quick Q&A, and that will be that. All right, everybody, have a really wonderful rest of your night. Have a wonderful rest of your week and weekend, and I will see you in a week. Bye.